Hey folks, we're back for round 6 from the 2018 Benasque Open. It was actually our worst day collectively so far.
Half out of two.
Half out of 2,
Yeah,
hence the
sad.
black shirts.
Yeah, we're both in mourning, or at least I'm in mourning.
Yeah, it was a tough round. I don't know about you, but I was feeling like the tiredness that you get from playing a lot of chess.
I mean, now we can say we're officially halfway through the tournament.
Yeah,
But this is usually around where the fatigue sets in.
right.
And we still have, 4 more games to
4
go.
more important games. I mean, we're
Yeah.
still doing reasonably well with 4 out of 6 each, but well, next 4 games will be tough. Okay, let's start with your game.
Sure. I finally played a London. I played a Grandmaster from Israel, Dan Zoller, who I've never heard of before this tournament. Where was the arrow key? So I played a London, and I'll admit I did almost no preparation. I looked at his games. I downloaded all 600 or so games that he has online, and there were no games in the London. So I thought, okay, I'll play the London, and hopefully he has less experience than I do.
Yeah, well,
So
is this a good time to mention your new course is out?
yeah,
Tactics in the London System.
I haven't not gotten to mention it yet, but I did make a course. We'll have a link in the description.
Absolutely. We'll put a link down there.
And it kind of helped me in this game because, as you'll see, some of the ideas from the opening were tactical.
Sure.
And actually, there was a game I showed in that course which was very similar to at least the early middle game that I played.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I was kind of just ready for anything. He played g6 here, which is a bit less common. But the funny thing about g6, it can transpose into the so-called berry attack, where after knight c3, bishop g7, h4, this is actually what I like to play against King's Indian players.
Sure.
Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, the move order can come a bit differently. If black plays g6 here, knight c3, d5.
Right, it's kind of the normal way.
And this would be just a transposition.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what happened. I played h4. I have a feeling he was slightly prepared, because he just blitzed out h5. I played knight f3. He blitzed out castling. Then I played knight e5, and then he started thinking. So he wasn't super prepared. And I was happy with the opening because he's a Nimzo Indian player. Occasionally,
I thought he
maybe
was a
some
Gunfall player.
No, so I think he played a structure maybe a bit outside his comfort zone.
Right.
And then we got a middle game that I was just more kind of familiar with the plans. He played a move here, c6, which I don't think is the most accurate move. Usually black should try and break down the center with c5 at some point.
Yeah.
And then I went for this setup, starting with queen f3, which maybe looks a bit unusual, but the goal is to put the queen on g3, and then just stay flexible. I'm not sure if I want to castle a queenside, but I have the option.
Yeah.
But usually
nice
queen
battery.
g3, yeah, exerting pressure in multiple directions, and bishop d3 and f3. So that's kind of my main goal.
Seems interesting.
Yeah, and he was taking a long time, every move in the opening, knight bd7, queen g3, take, bishop f5. Okay, a lot of these moves are just normal. Bishop d3, queen d7, f3. We trade on d3. But I was feeling comfortable here, and he was super focused and very intense, and maybe not seeming super comfortable. He played this move knight e8, which maybe is somewhat logical. Black is a bit restricted and has to it wasn't clear what the plan was for black. So I guess he was just going for some kind of trades, maybe trying to prepare c5. I castle. And then he plays c5, which I kind of forgot was possible. When I castled queenside, I thought c5 was just not playable, but the idea is that if I try and win a pawn, for example, take. By the way, someone got really mad at me in the YouTube comments. I forget which video, but it's because I say take and not takes. I don't know if that's a thing to...
I think it's pretty normal, actually. Yeah.
Anyway, after d takes c5, black would have d4 here. And then I'm
Yeah,
up a
some
pawn,
weaknesses, yeah.
but
Knight f5
my
and-
pawn on c5 is weak, and I didn't want to go into this.
Right.
So he played c5, and then I started thinking. But then I think I found a nice line, taking on g7, and then queen to e5.
Okay.
Which just aims to exert pressure on d5.
Yeah.
And in many cases, like early in the opening, the knight on c3 isn't that useful because it's restricted, but here it's very useful, pressuring d5. And then he took a long think, and he played c take d4, which gives me an interesting option. And I'll admit that I've maybe got a bit lazy here. He was already pretty low on time. It's only move 16, but he had, I think, less than 20 minutes here.
Oh, wow.
I really wanted to take on d5.
Sure.
But for some reason, I thought there's too many complications with like the pawn structure changing. And then I just made the decision to take on d4. Honestly, I can't tell you why I rejected knight take d5.
Right.
It seems like a nice move. I think I was scaring myself with potential ideas of f6, if that makes any sense. Like f6. Then I can take on d4. I don't know, something about this scared me.
Yeah, I mean, this looks very funky. Taking on d4.
Because then I'm threatening I take f6.
Right.
But maybe I was scared of rook d8.
d8.
And then if e4... I don't know, white's up 2 pawns here.
No, just one pawn. But...
Oh, yeah, I can't count.
But
maybe like
annoying.
black somehow gets compensation with more open files, open C file, and I thought it would be a position that might be easier to play for black. I wanted to keep the structure similar.
Just kind of stable.
Yeah, and I wanted to keep a position that I understood what was going on, so I just took back on d4. And I felt like this position I had a very good grasp about what's happening.
Yeah,
like my
very
king is safe.
Solid.
It's very clear I want to play g4 at some point. My queen and knight are working together, so...
yeah, I think it's reasonable.
So yeah, I think... Yeah, maybe... I'll have to check with the engine if the other line is just better for whites, but we'll see. Rook ac8, king b1, rook fd8, and then rook to e1, okay, pressuring e7. He plays queen f5. And then I had another decision to make, because he's threatening to take on d3. And there's a couple moves I can consider here. Now, okay, I'll admit... The fatigue was getting to me, and for like a good 2 minutes, I was calculating knight take d5, not realizing that rook take d5 is just winning for black.
Just clean piece, yeah.
It was some weird hallucination because I was calculating knight take d5, queen take e5, rook take e5.
Right.
So maybe it was already a sign I wasn't in the best mental states.
Here, this is starting to look a little... Just the knight f5 just hits so many things in your position that it's like...
Yeah, so there's two candidate moves for whites. Queen e3 and queen take f5. Maybe even probably not queen take e7 because that's too risky. But there's a pretty forcing line. Queen take f5, knight take f5, g4. Knight take d4, rook take e7. And I had a hard time evaluating what's going on because so many different pawns are hanging. Like f3's hanging, b7's hanging.
Yeah, we should make some arrows.
For people who maybe aren't following.
Makes for a good thumbnail.
Here. Yeah, this is going to be the
make
thumbnail.
sure to use some red arrows too.
Nathan was saying red arrows. And then that arrow that I had the other day just made no sense.
Right.
Yeah, okay. There's our thumbnail.
Right.
Let's get rid of that. Anyway, it was... Like in all seriousness, it was a complicated variation.
Right.
But again, given the circumstances with the time situation, like he was already like around 10 minutes here. I wanted to keep pieces on the board. I wanted to have some attack. So I just played queen e3. Maybe another sign of laziness. But okay, I was still happy with the position I got.
Yeah.
Rook c6. And maybe a lot of this I'm just saying in hindsight because I lost the game.
Right.
But okay, I played g4. Still feeling good. Take, 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 take. And now I'm hitting... I was feeling really good here because I'm hitting the rook on d8.
Yeah.
Black has a lot of loose pieces. Rook on d8, pawn on b7, and then after I take on b7, this can hang, d5 is always weak.
So, something solid.
I have two half-open files, h5 potential. Maybe this could be our thumbnail too, because there's spots of red.
This one looks instructive. Yeah.
This actually looks reasonable, yeah.
But rook d7 here looks solid.
So I kind of forgot about rook d7.
Yeah.
Or maybe I didn't forget about it, I just assumed I could play queen h4, queen b8, and win a7. And that's what I did. Or, sorry, queen e4.
Queen e5.
Queen e5. It's been a long day. With ideas of queen b8.
Right.
And I'm hitting d5 too.
Yeah.
So he played rook e6. And then, thing is, I'm not winning a pawn, because he wins h4 in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was around here. I'm already forgetting some of the key lines. Oh, maybe it wasn't around here. Okay, let's keep going. Here, here, take, 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 take.
So now he just has these two connected.
Yeah, for some reason I thought there was another candidate move for me. Oh yeah, I wanted to potentially take on d5.
Oh, nice.
But I don't think it works out so nice, because after take here, even king f8, but king h8, I win the queen. He would win d4 in the end. And he's controlling the e8 square with his knight, and he's doing things with his rook.
But this seems drawish. Maybe rook e4 takes on d3, like rook e7.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, rook e7 is a resource. But I thought like black should be the one playing for more.
Yeah, probably.
I still didn't want to draw, just because, okay, he was getting so low on time.
All right.
So I think the time affected me like negatively in this game. I just had a huge time advantage, but maybe I was making poor decisions because of it.
Right.
So we go into this line, and now, yeah, it's equal material, but it's imbalanced, very imbalanced. Rook e2, because I have the queenside majority. He plays knight e6, and then I play knight b5. Was it around here? Again, I'm forgetting some of the key lines. I think it was around here I had another option of playing something like rook e5 to try and win the d5 pawn. And maybe that was a better move. Knight b5 I thought was strong when I played it, just because it restricts him in a lot of ways. Like, he can't play rook c7, I keep d4 defended. And then it was just a weird position, because we were both kind of stuck.
Well, it just feels like his two pawns are worth more than your two.
That's true. But I thought if he ever tries to advance them, then his king
chances.
could be weak.
Yeah, for sure.
I have ideas of like queen b8 and rook h2. So
yeah,
I thought it was still complex.
It's not an easy position to play by any means.
So he danced around with his queen. I play rook d2, queen f1, king c2. I think he played very strongly. Like around here, he had 3 minutes left, but he was finding some good ideas.
Oh, so he takes over this diagonal.
Yeah, he prevented... oh, no, I didn't want to do that. He prevented queen b8, which is a key square. But I had an idea. Okay, first I play king c3. He played king g7. And then I play a4. And my idea is just to push the a pawn. I thought it might be a pawn race. Like, he would play g5, and we would go into these lines where I think white should be faster.
It's funny. It's like your king is castled sideways.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like, these pawns actually provide some, like, it's some shelter from sideways queen. But
yeah, somehow not as good, feels like.
And you'll see, like, why. Like, he managed to completely destroy my shelter. It was pretty unexpected, like, when his attack came, and I didn't see it coming. Starting with knight g5, this is a very strong move, given that he has ideas of Well, first I thought his only idea was knight f3. So then I just play a5. So I thought knight f3 shouldn't hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
But then he had a different idea with his knight, starting with queen e3. And now the idea is very clear. And my shelter is not so safe anymore.
Yeah.
And it's actually, I think it's almost lost here.
Yeah, he's just getting
Because I have so few moves. And yeah, the queen and knight work amazingly together. And my queen and knight are just out of play.
Yeah.
And now a6 means nothing.
Wow.
So
yeah, what to do?
I tried to survive. I played rook h2.
Mm-hmm.
He played knight f3. And then I play rook c2. I'll admit I just didn't see this this final tactic by him. He played knight e1.
Mm.
I played rook d2. I thought things were under control.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, it's solid. It's like what I had before. The knight's on e1. Shouldn't be a big difference.
This is when I came by. I saw the position on the board. Yeah, I know.
You saw what happened. Okay, so
it's a nice tactic.
Yeah, for people watching, if you want a tactical exercise, black to move and find essentially the force win. The move is knight take d3.
Yeah.
I did not see this coming. It took me a moment to realize his plan.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I was like, why can't he just take?
Like, what's going on here?
But it's very, very nice.
Yeah, queen c1. It's one of those things you just like you calculate the forcing line, queen c4 in the end. And yeah, then it was losing.
Exchange.
Except I tried to fight on. I'll just wrap this up here.
You have a knight, so.
I have a knight. I have a rule: never resign when you have a knight.
Yeah.
Knight c3. I thought maybe at some point I could have gotten some counterplay with my queenside majority.
Right.
I played king b4 here. I'm realizing that maybe I should have played king b3, just from a practical standpoint.
So what's the difference?
The difference is that I want to just avoid the queen trade. I want to play queen b5. I want to provoke him into taking, because if I can take, and then let's say d4, then we could get some position where
your knight comes to d6 and
yeah, my knight could come to d6. My king can come in and like win this pawn and catch the other pawns, and then I can start storming. And
yeah,
it could be unclear. So,
but I mean, it would.
I mean, black still.
It's probably like I don't think
somehow.
d4 is a good move there. Maybe like g5 or something, just get the other side going. But
yeah, but then like still from a practical standpoint, I think I have hope with these pawns. Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, he would still have to find some precise win. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like I would mess this up still. That's for sure.
Yeah, maybe if there's like no increment, I can try and pull some dirty tricks.
Blitz him out.
But,
yeah.
Anyway, I played king b4, and his technique was very good. He started pushing the g-pawn. Like, around here, if he doesn't have his next move, then I think it's tricky for black. Like, if he plays... I don't know, if he plays f5, then I could play like d5 or even b4, and then maybe it's not so clear. But he played very precisely, rook c6.
Right, because f5 would be giving up all his pawns for the knight.
Right,
and
which
then
he doesn't want.
You have the drawing chances with the king. Right.
So he just wins the knight. And
so
everything comes with tempo.
With tempo.
Yeah, g2. Take. And then he has his f-pawn, so
it's, yeah.
And he slowed me down with his rook, and his f-pawn starts rolling, and I just resign here.
Right.
If I play d6, yeah, he would just queen the f-pawn and put the rook on d2, and it's losing.
Yeah.
So it was, I mean, I was happy with the opening.
Yeah, where do you think you could have improved if you had to?
I mean, I think there were some lines where I avoided them because they were drawish, but I probably like objectively should have went for them.
Yeah.
Like I was really pleased around this position, and then I mean this is the first moment where I like
maybe knight d5.
I knew I was gonna maybe regret it.
But it's risky even a move like I don't know rook e8. I guess you just take on.
Because I was trying to like to figure out this position, and then at some point I rejected it without knowing why I was rejecting it, just because the other option looks simpler.
Yeah, that's always a tough one. Maybe even I don't know, d takes e3. I'm wondering what his, like, what would he have played? Because he
Yeah.
must have had some concrete idea, right?
Yeah, maybe
Like,
you're right. D take e3. Because then knight take e7.
Probably king h8 just to get out of
Yeah.
checks.
And my knight could be stuck.
Right, I mean, it doesn't
Though
look
actually,
clear.
if he, yeah, I looked at this line. Maybe I could take here and just be up a pawn.
Mhm.
But it seemed like somehow he's getting compensation with this c file. Though maybe I just play king b1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wait, you're not. Are you up a pawn?
Oh no, I'm not.
No, you're equal. So
Wait, how did that happen? Oh, because he won d4.
right.
Ah,
And we
so
didn't
maybe
take on e7.
yeah. I forgot he won a pawn. So maybe yeah, maybe this is actually completely okay for black. I was calculating these lines thinking I would be up a pawn.
Well, you are if you take
Take on e7.
d5 and d4. So if he plays like f6 here,
Right.
then you were up a pawn.
No, he would probably go for this.
But yeah, this looks.
and then
more,
it's a fight.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah, it's and then later, I don't know. There's another moment later. I want to just see. Now I'm forgetting it.
Hmm.
Queen h2. Oh no, so I wanted to play queen b8, threatening rook h2.
Mm-hmm.
But then there is queen h1, and then I take d4, just simple. So, anyway, a game to look back on.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
Probably do some psychoanalysis. Get better sleep.
I feel like this keeps happening to us in all of our games against the high-rated jams. We had some kind of initiative from the opening.
Yeah.
Then we lose it, and then they have the structural advantage, and then just like grind us down.
Yeah, chess is tough.
Yeah.
GMs are good. I don't know if it's psychological or they're more resourceful.
Yeah.
Maybe a combination of things.
Well, I think they just know a little bit more about everything and are
Yeah.
slightly better at calculating. Okay, so I drew today against women's grandmaster Mihaelu Sandu from Romania, and so yeah, actually I made a surprise in the opening.
Is this
I
your
went
first
for
time ever playing knight c6?
Yeah. I don't know what it's called actually. I completely forgot. But it's
Nimzovich, right? Nimzovich?
Oh right.
Yeah.
But I feel like there is a new name for it, like Perk Nimzo hybrid. At least that's what I've been calling it in my head.
Interesting. Okay.
Because this is kind of the new trend started by maybe Magnus, maybe some people before Magnus, where black just plays this against everything, just knight c6, d6, and then.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you play this against d4 on move 1? Like d4 knight c6?
I think so.
Is that a bad move order?
I think.
His idea, like d5, just knight b8.
Oh, like this. Well, yeah, you definitely could do this, but white should be
Actually,
better.
yeah, this looks a bit suspicious.
just so many free moves.
Yeah.
But it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to the game idea. But d4, why wouldn't you just play d6, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Worst case,
right.
they play e4.
Right.
And well, yeah. So black's idea is to get this perk with the knight on c6 kind of early, and at some point, usually after both sides castle, white plays d5 to push the knight back. Otherwise, if white plays like h3, black can play like e5, and I get a King's Indian. What I've always wanted against e4.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised you haven't played like the Pirts more against like e4.
Well, my opinion on it is that white just has all these like nice attacking lines, like both f4 and bishop e3.
I guess that's true.
So you just don't get the same counterplay with the pawn on c4.
But you had a good feeling your opponent would maybe not be.
But this line, well, white is kind of committed to playing with like two knights, and so they can still go for like bishop e3, queen d2. I think black will have some knight g4 ideas, so it's kind of dynamic at least. But usually they just go for this classical approach now. And so I've kind of avoided all the sharper lines, and we're into like more positional. White is going to have a space advantage, try to be restrictive, like Karpov style. So yeah, one of the main lines here I think is like h3, just to stop bishop g4. And then I think the main line is like c6. And so black's idea looks crazy, right? Just giving up these two tempi. But, well, you try to chip away at the center. You play like knight bd7, queen c7, a5. It's very solid. I think it's actually a really good line for rapid and blitz, because black's moves are supernatural, and white has to work like pretty hard to prove anything. She played knight d4, which is not something I had looked at. I think rook e1 also is in line, or bishop e3 or something. But I went for this idea I found before the game, to put the knight on c5 very quickly, and then just play e6 or e5. And I think it's a nice idea. I think black equalizes here quite comfortably.
Were you still like prepared in this from this exact position, or
so
you knew the idea? Or?
Knight d4, not exactly. I was gonna play it against h3, I think. With the idea like maybe white plays like rook e1 here, knight c5, bishop f1, kind of normal. Black can play e6, and I think it's pretty comfortable for black. You're just gonna take on d5, play rook e8. Usually white takes on e6, and then you can take with the bishop, and I think it's a decent version. White isn't really controlling so much space here. So yeah, against knight d4, I figured the same thing basically makes sense. So she plays bishop f1 to defend the pawn, e5 or e6. e5 was also possible. And now white could play b4 here, which is a sharp move, but I didn't really believe in it during the game. I would just play knight a6. And this kind of thing, it looks impressive at first, but
you're probably happy to get the two bishops.
Yeah, I feel like black isn't going to have that, or white isn't going to have that much of a follow-up here. I mean, unless e5 or something, but I don't really believe in it, because, yeah, knight d5, and can just start taking stuff. So she takes on e6, and I decided to play f takes e6, and I'm not exactly sure in which positions black should take with the pawn or with the knight, because knight takes e6 I think would also probably equalize. Just trading off the knights and then just getting, just a very comfortable, this kind of position where all your moves just flow super easily. From my understanding is black should take fe6 as long as white doesn't have the e5 idea, because if white can get e5 in and it's good, then your structure is going to have issues. But here black has kind of a common trick. Rook takes e5. You guys can pause your video. Black to play, find the best move.
Knight g4?
I think knight g4 is good. I don't...
your knight on c5 is hanging, but then bishop takes e4.
Yeah, I think this is one of two good moves. So rook takes, and you take here. Queen h4 might be strong too. And knight fe4 would be the other move. And the problem for white is everything just hangs on the diagonal. Black is just winning. So because white doesn't have this, I think black is basically fine. She can't play bishop e3 because of the e4 pawn. So knight b3. I played, I think, the best move here, knight d7. To me, this looked like I'm reinforcing the knight. This guy can come to e5. I'm opening up the f file. I can bring in my queen.
This reminded me of like some dragon setup, except you have a pawn on c7 and not f7.
Sure, yeah.
I think that file's nice for you.
Oh yeah, I think it's a nice structure for black. I think, I mean, I was already feeling very comfortable here. My main idea is to play b6 and bishop b7 and just put a lot of pressure on the e4 pawn. And then if white plays f3, it's a little bit weakening. And at the right moment, in some positions, I'll play e5 and bring the knight to e6, but have to be careful about that. Okay, she played queen g4, which looked a little strange to me. I mean, white is activating the queen, but it just feels like the queen is going to be an easy target with knight e5, knight f6. So I was a little bit skeptical, but
she just wants to put the queen on g3, maybe.
Exactly. I resisted the temptation to make this move because it's not really the most flexible in the position. White just plays queen g3, no way to follow up. Now she can play f4 or f3, bishop g5, and the knight on c5 is now kind of hanging, and I have to deal with that. So I decided to just play b6. I think this move is also good. Keeping all the tension, I want to play bishop b7, and if bishop g5, I think I'll just play bishop f6. because I don't mind the trade of bishops here. I feel like my queen kind of takes over on the dark squares, and it's white who has maybe some more weaknesses.
I would actually play queen e8 after bishop g5.
Oh, I wanted to, but the problem was knight b5.
You can't defend c7.
Yeah, I couldn't find a good
answer. You could play knight a6, but it looks weird.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go back. I mean, I even have knight e5 and rook somewhere, but it just looked a little murky.
Can you play queen f7?
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, and then knight e5?
Yeah.
Oh, that's... Oh, I know I'm hitting f2. But I think I actually thought maybe queen g3.
I don't know. I just think your dark squared bishop is better than white's dark squared bishop. So.
Well, I don't disagree. I just felt like I didn't have a better option.
Gotcha.
And I thought, well, if the bishops come off, then black is still happier. I actually thought if we went for this, she would play bishop h6. But now knight e5 comes, and it's a lot better because queen g3 runs into bishop h4.
Oh, nice.
I hit f2. So I was kind of hoping for this. But instead, she played bishop e3. And now it's definitely a good time to pause. Maybe this is the only, or one of few critical moments in the game. Black to play and find the strongest move or a continuation.
I don't even know what to look for. I guess white has a threat, right, of winning a pawn. Or wait, no, because e6 is always going to be the thing.
Yeah. I would say to start by looking for the tactics.
Okay. I think I remember what you did. Is it just bishop takes c3, knight f6?
Yeah. So I gave up the King's Indian bishop, but I'm likely winning the e4 pawn and ruining the queenside structure. I mean, sometimes black will give up a whole rook for this, right, in the Sicilian. So here I figured I really didn't want to give up the bishop.
A pawn? I mean, it's a center pawn.
But yeah, sometimes this is just the only way to play the position. And I mean, okay, I don't think it's even that unclear. I think it's just good for black.
Right.
But even when I made this move, I feel like my hand was shaking a little bit. I was like... Because now it's like white will have compensation on the dark squares. It might not be enough. It's probably not enough, but there will be some issues. I played knight f6. I also really strongly considered knight e5 actually because she still can't defend the pawn. But I figured then the knight might be a target to some f4 later, so I just went kind of the most solid.
Wait, just to point out, after knight e5, queen e2. With idea of bishop h6.
Oh yeah, I think I was thinking I would take on f2 somehow, but actually maybe it's not working. Yeah, because rook f2 just queen e4, right?
E4, yeah.
This is not good. Maybe I missed this one. I feel like I had some...
Because knight takes c3, there's like queen d2.
Queen d2...
Maybe now you're sacking the exchange. Oh, you have rook f3.
No, but rook takes c5. I wanted to play this so bad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work. I'm not sure about this one, actually. So I guess I probably made the right call, though I imagine we might be missing some resources here. Because, yeah, I mean, I could give the exchange. This would be 2 pawns, but like something like this. I mean, I would definitely take black here, but I don't know if it's like an advantage.
Those knights in the center.
Both of them can be like disrupted.
Yeah.
f4, c4. Okay, so knight f6 was probably the right call. And now it's very tough for white because anywhere the queen goes, there's going to be a tempo. Queen g3 gets hit, queen f3 gets hit, queen h4. I'll take with the f knight and offer to trade queens. And I thought maybe white would go for queen h3. And I would have to decide whether or not to insert e5. Most likely I would have. I calculated one interesting line here where if white... so bishop c4, d5 is basically game over. But if white now plays queen h4 with the idea of throwing in bishop c4 check at the right moment. So maybe take... I was thinking bishop c4 check here. d5 I wasn't sure about because the c5 knight will kind of lose some protection, but I was thinking just, let's say, king
H8.
Yeah. Trade. Oh, sorry, not king h8. Bishop e6 was the key move.
Mm-hmm.
Which looks so loose. But it looked like it was working just because the bishop on c4 is hanging.
Wait, why not bishop take e6? Bishop take e6 immediately.
Oh, immediately.
Because your knight is overworked on c5.
Oh, on e4 is hanging. Oh, yeah. I missed this, yeah. Hopefully I would have found that.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that was not good. So in that case, I would have to play...
I think king h8's logical.
Yeah.
Your knights defend each other.
Right, and so I don't think white has such a... only
Looks
bishop
shaky,
d5
like bishop
would
d5
be...
ideas, but then bishop
I think bishop
b7,
b7, yeah.
maybe white wins a pawn, but...
Oh, but I'm happy to
yeah.
give back the pawn if we can trade everything off.
Yeah. Open the a file. Life is good.
Yeah, playing against these double pawns is such a pleasant experience. But yeah, it's funny that I always have these resources where like my bishop, it feels like everything is hanging, but white
everything
can't really,
defends everything.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's nothing white can do.
Yeah.
So we get some position like this, like worst opposite color bishop endgame, you know, in history. It's like, yeah. So I was hoping for that. Instead, white just plays queen d1, which is probably a good practical decision just to keep the queens on at any cost. I took on e4, and then she plays f3. So just inviting me to take another pawn. I was really torn here. I didn't know what to do because if I play like knight f6, I kind of just wanted to be solid. I thought like, well, even bishop h6 or bishop g5, it's just like, it's kind of hard for black to move in this position. If white just kind of tries to put some pressure.
I still like black. Like, what is white threatening?
Well, knight c5.
That's true.
I mean, even then, it might not be so great for white.
Like d5 and...
Yeah, d5. I don't know.
Oh, you're up a pawn. You have two center pawns. You're not getting mated.
Oh, it should be good, but I wanted this with 2 pawns.
Oh, you just want more. Okay.
I mean, it looks okay, but yeah, I was thinking if I'm gonna suffer, then I should at least have 2 pawns, right? Like,
fair enough.
What is this 1 pawn?
Like you want like the appetizer, the main course, the apple crumble.
I felt like if white just doesn't have enough, then I'm definitely winning, right? 2 pawns. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't feel like it was a mistake, but I'm not sure. Okay, so I thought queen d4 would come. Knight d5, bishop h6, rook f7. And I just didn't see anything for her in this position. It just seems like everything is protected. If c4...
Is this what happened?
No, it's not. Okay. But if this did happen... So this is kind of what convinced me to take the second pawn. It's just I didn't see the concrete threats for white. I think maybe just knight e7, bring the knight to f5. And with the queen on d4, whenever white makes this exchange, I get this tempo, which is kind of nice. But instead, she played queen d2, which I realized is a lot stronger. So number one, if white ever takes, I don't get the tempo. But secondly, you know, the knight can come to d4 and get a little bit more pressure. I still don't think there's enough here for white. I mean, it's 2 pawns. Okay, bishop c4. So I don't know. Maybe this is somewhere where I could have improved compared to the game. But I'm not totally sure. Maybe I just missed some kind of concrete idea here or something, but I don't really know how it could have done. I'll show you what I did, and then maybe we can back up. I traded because if I play...
Like the first idea that comes to mind is like queen h4 attacking both loose bishops. It doesn't work tactically because bishop take d5.
Yeah, I always have this back rank
also
issue.
Bishop h6 is defended. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I just somehow want to make queen h4 work.
Oh, yeah, me too. But have to stay at home.
Yeah. Yeah, you're under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, e6 pawn is kind of annoying to defend.
Can you play like c6 here?
I thought about it. I figured knight.
And then
d4.
you win connect 4.
That would have been good.
A bit more pressure, yeah.
I mean, I was thinking about this, and then like bishop d7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think white has a breakthrough, but it's kind of annoying. This knight on d4. It's just like it's very hard for black to make. I mean, unless I can play b5. But even if I do play b5, I can maybe back up and then break with c4. I mean, it's like this very relentless pressure. I typically like the opposite in this kind of position when I have like the speculative competition.
I usually like having the extra material.
Yeah.
Because then if like worst comes worst, you lose back a couple pawns, but then it's equal material. So
right. Well, yeah. I mean, at some point I bailed out and that was it. Okay, I ended up trading because I didn't want to deal with this knight on d4, and then I played c6.
Hey, you won connect 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we signed the score sheets. That was it. So here, white plays rook a d1, which is definitely a good move. And now the idea is just to pull back and then play c4.
Yeah, c4 is very strong.
And win the d6 pawn. Yeah. So I felt like my hands were kind of tied here. I have to play b5. And she spent a long time here, which was surprising to me because I thought bishop takes d5 was just forced. Just get the middle game with opposite color bishops.
You want to play b4.
And exactly, like bishop f1, b4. Now I feel like white has very little. I mean, this is just a dream night. I mean, very unusual, I thought.
It's like an outpost, like in the center, like in front of your d pawn.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Well, that would have been nice, but eventually she makes the right decision and takes, and now actually black is a big choice. So this might be a really interesting position to think about how to take back. I ended up going with I would say the counterintuitive choice. But I'm still not sure what would be the best case here. But I'll take you through the key points. So c takes d5 I think is the more natural choice.
Taking towards the center. Sure.
And keeping the e-file closed. But I just didn't like the looks of c4. So if I take, I mean, maybe I missed something in this line. Queen takes d6. So now, there's a ton of counterplay on the dark squares. I think critical would be trading queens.
Like trade in bishop d7?
Right. Then I thought rook d1. And it's like, all of this is hanging on this one.
It's all relatively forced.
One detail. And, okay, I can sack the exchange, but that's probably not a winning attempt. But note that in this position, the e-pawn is in the way. Hence my decision in the game.
Is they're the same line where you just...
Well, I thought if we go down this line, then my pawn will be on c6.
I see.
So I'll have rook e1, or, rook moves, and then I defend the bishop. I mean, it's a nice detail to find, right? Yeah. But it's because I spent
Can you play through that one more time? I'm just curious if there are any alternatives.
So here would be kind of... Yeah, and then rook d8 again, bishop g5 is an issue. And of course the bishop can't move because of the back rank.
So is there another move besides, like, can you play bishop b7 instead?
Yeah, so here... Actually, she suggested rook c7 after the game, which I didn't consider. But thinking about it in my head, I just thought, like, check and rook h8 looks very annoying.
Yeah, it looks a bit... Well, then king f6.
King f6, g4, and...
Oh, she wants to mate.
Yeah, this threat.
Rook f7. You hide. Defend.
But okay, from afar, like having to look at all these things.
But you want to play bishop a8. If you're not getting mated, you might win.
Bishop b7. Yeah, I mean, it still looks really dangerous. Like
h4 is threatening. Oh, is it threatening anything? Maybe not.
I don't know. Maybe black is just getting out.
It looks very close to mate.
What if we just like do this or something?
Bishop b7. King e7. You run king d7.
Yeah, it kind of runs out for white, right? Yeah. Well,
it's hard to see.
Yeah, I mean, from this position.
Was she going to play c4? Probably.
Well, after the game, yeah, she told me she wasn't sure about this. So I'm not sure, but I mean, I feel like if white doesn't play c4, then it's hard to find a good together. Plan. Yeah. So actually, in the game, I probably wouldn't have taken the second pawn. I think I would have gone for this had I gone for cd5.
I see.
So I was also considering this position quite a bit. And I just felt like white is very, very close to just having completely full compensation. Like, this pawn will never run. And
it's the nature of opposite colored bishops. Like, if you're weak around your king side, it could...
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't always favor the side who's up material.
Yeah, black might not even be better in this kind of thing. So, because of all this, yeah, I eventually took ed5, which is probably anti-positional because I'm just opening the e-file. But here I thought if c4... So the difference is, number one, I don't think I would go for this, not because of the endgame. Like, this is now... looks fine for black, just based on the same line we looked at.
Yeah.
But I thought in that other position, queen b4 would be a really annoying move. At least I didn't immediately see an answer to this, and then so I was like, okay, well, why would I? Because even queen b6 check.
Do you have a t5? Well, queen b6 gets mated, right?
Oh, right. Queen b6, yeah, exactly.
Rook e8.
d5, I mean, minimum...
And is queen takes c4 possible?
Well, then check
queen
d...
h1.
Oh, king h1.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I have to do something like bishop d7 or...
But you have 3 passed pawns.
Yeah, this looks pretty imbalanced. I don't know. I mean, I would probably take black, but yeah, maybe that's not so dangerous.
White might have some idea of like queen c3, bishop c1, bishop b2.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
These dark squares.
Yeah, I might just be like just lost against this plan. So this looks very dangerous. I was actually probably just going to play bishop d7 and c5 just to get this kind of stable structure.
Sure.
And I thought, well, you know, it's only one pawn, but I do have this outside pass pawn. And this pawn can't be like targeted with f4. So, I don't know.
I would still be scared of, let's say white starts with like bishop g5.
Yeah.
And then idea of queen c3, bishop c1, bishop b2.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to just try and challenge with queen c3.
Queen b4.
Yeah. But
yeah, it would be a fight.
I mean, white can already consider this kind of thing. The d6 pawn. I don't know. Maybe trading queens is not good. I mean, you can also just play queen c1. So I mean, I had no doubts at this point. White is just keeping full compensation. So just going back a little bit, I wasn't really sure where, like, after taking the second pawn, whether I could have avoided this kind of fate. It was yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Stockfish points out.
I think that line where you take with the c pawn and then weather the storm with rook c7.
It was possible. That might have been good. Well, my Patreon supporters get access to all my games annotated. It's one of the benefits. You see the video where I'm unsure about every line, and then you get the annotated games, and it's more direct because I check with the computer and find out the truth.
I do the same thing, but I don't allow people to
see anything. Nice. Well, actually, she surprised me. So after e takes d5, instead of c4, rook e2 was played. And I thought, well, okay, now I'm just going to be 2 pawns up. But white is just banking on this pressure on the e-file, and it was very annoying to deal with. I mean, I don't know if I had a concrete way to really prove my advantage here. So immediately the threat is kind of like bishop g5, and if I move my queen somewhere, rook e7, and then just trying to penetrate on the 7th rank. So I felt like queen f6 was important here to keep my queen on the king side. Bishop g5, queen f5. I was really hoping for rook e7 here because I calculated that I would have a nice resource against kind of white's most natural, like, active play. I could just play queen e6, and white has no good moves here because queen e1 is a big threat and not enough counterplay. So queen e8, I can kind of push white out.
Makes sense.
But it would still be, I mean, it would still be a tough conversion. Instead, white played h4, which is just a lot stronger, just keeping all the pressure, not trying to bail out into some 2 pawns down in game. And yeah, I just couldn't find a plan here for black to improve.
What is white's plan?
So white, as I found out, is threatening bishop e7, just taking the pawn. I think white also has ideas of playing bishop h6 and then rook e7.
Okay.
Assuming I'm not going to repeat.
Because I was thinking if white doesn't have a plan, then your plan is just pushing the a pawn.
Yeah.
Until queen.
Well, yeah, I guess I do have ways of improving the position, but none of them are fast enough.
So what did you do?
Well, I started pushing pawns. I played c5, bishop e7. I definitely overlooked this move. I mean, not in this exact position. I was still hoping for rook e7, somewhat naively. Because now I thought, well, the king has left, so maybe white will go for this. But actually, the same line works. It's kind of funny. I just had to calculate the exact same line, but 2 moves further. Because now queen h8, I don't have queen e1 mate, but I do have queen e5.
Nice.
The queens.
Nice.
So, but yeah, just kind of irrelevant. I also calculated this endgame. Like, if white goes for the opposite color bishop endgame, I think d4 is important, and then I just fixed the pawns on light squares, and I win too many. But yeah, none of this happened. So bishop e7. Now I tried this just to kind of centralize. And she just goes back, bishop e7. Really strong move, actually. I thought maybe white would go back. Whoops. White would go back this way. But this move keeps a threat on the c5 pawn, so now rook e5 is very annoying. And at this point, I've already decided that, like, I don't want to be worse. So it's like, maybe it's a long time to bail out. I don't know. I really didn't see any way to continue playing for a win here.
Well, how do you bail out?
Oh, well, I'm somewhat fortunate I have d3. And so if c takes d3, then I have queen d4 check. At least I have this resource, so white isn't just like collecting all my pawns. I'm not even sure. Maybe white could be better here. I was thinking I might play queen d4 check first.
It's king h1.
King moves. And like, I don't have rook e8. Or do I? I'm not sure if I do. Rook e8 is possible.
My head hurts just calculating this line.
Yeah, maybe I can take on e2. And I'm okay. So maybe rook e8. In the game, white would have rook e5 in this position, and it would be unclear. I don't know. I did a good job of masking my intentions here because I knew if I offered a draw, then white might start playing for a win. Like, oh, I'm better. So I played d3. Queen takes d3 was played. I think more natural considering white is still fine with a peaceful result. So we traded rook c8, and everything just kind of gets chopped off. I pushed the pawn forward.
So no one was offering draws even around here?
Well, in the game it was kind of expected that I would, because I'm the high-rated player and I was, better. And I just figured, I mean, I had no illusions that I could win this position.
Yeah.
But I just thought, okay, let's just see what exactly she's going to do. She brought her king to the center. I made this past a pawn. And she played king d4, offered a draw, and so I took it. Because I was like, okay, clearly this is a setup that is gonna hold for white.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely ways for white to go wrong, but at this point it's very unlikely that would happen. So I figured might as well call it a day. So yeah, tough game, right? I feel like I played well. The opening surprise worked out.
Put yourself. It was great opening choice. I think put yourself in a situation. You probably had some winning chances.
But
just
well, like I mentioned, I ran out of steam somewhere. Yeah. Maybe if I had focused more, I could have found some concrete defense to kind of. Yeah. Untangle.
Well, at least when you ran out of steam, you held on for a draw, unlike me.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.
Adios.